Imagine discovering that your entire life has been a carefully orchestrated lie, and the person you trusted most was actually your greatest enemy. This is exactly what happened to Marcus Chin, a software engineer from San Francisco, whose world came crashing down in the most unimaginable way possible. Marcus was living what most people would consider the perfect life. At 28, he had a thriving career at a major tech company, a beautiful apartment in the heart of Silicon Valley, and most importantly, he had Sarah. Sarah wasn't just his girlfriend of 3 years, she was his anchor, his best friend, and the person he planned to propose to on their upcoming vacation to Hawaii. But sometimes, the people closest to us are hiding the darkest secrets. It all started on a seemingly ordinary Tuesday morning in March. Marcus was running late for work and grabbed Sarah's laptop by mistake instead of his own. They had identical MacBooks, a cute couple thing they'd done the year before. As he opened it during his lunch break to work on a presentation, he noticed something strange. The desktop had folders with names he didn't recognize, and one folder in particular caught his attention because it had his name on it. Curiosity got the better of him, and what he found inside that folder would haunt him forever. There were hundreds of photos of him, taken without his knowledge. Pictures of him sleeping, eating breakfast, walking to work, even images from inside his own apartment when he thought he was alone. But these weren't random stalker photos. They were organized, cataloged, and dated going back almost 4 years, an entire year before they had even met. The deeper Marcus dug, the more horrifying it became. There were detailed notes about his daily routines, his fears, his dreams, his financial information, even transcripts of phone calls he'd had with his family. Sarah had been documenting every aspect of his life with the precision of a scientist studying a lab rat. But why would the woman he loved do this to him? The answer came in the form of encrypted files that took him hours to crack using his programming skills. What he discovered was a contract, a literal contract with a private investigation firm, but not just any firm. This was a corporate espionage company that specialized in what they called deep infiltration operations. Sarah wasn't Sarah at all. Her real name was Rebecca Torres, and she was a professional con artist who had been hired by Marcus's former business partner, David Kim. 2 years before meeting Sarah, Marcus had left his startup company after a falling out with David over the direction of their revolutionary AI software. Marcus had taken his portion of the code and his ideas with him, which was completely legal according to their partnership agreement. But David had never forgiven him for what he saw as a betrayal, and apparently he'd been planning his revenge ever since. The contract revealed the full scope of the operation. Rebecca had been paid over $200,000 to infiltrate Marcus's life, gain his trust, and slowly extract information about his new projects and potentially steal his intellectual property. But the plan was even more sinister than simple corporate theft. The endgame was to destroy Marcus's life completely, to drive him to financial ruin and emotional breakdown. Marcus realized that Sarah, or rather Rebecca, had been subtly sabotaging his relationships and career for months. She had been the one who told his family about his struggles with anxiety, making them worry unnecessarily. She had been the one who suggested he turn down certain job opportunities that would have advanced his career. She had even been slowly isolating him from his friends by creating drama and conflicts that seemed to happen naturally but were actually carefully orchestrated. The most chilling discovery was a timeline document that outlined the final phase of the operation. Rebecca was supposed to convince Marcus to invest his life savings into a fake startup company that David had created. Once Marcus had transferred the money, Rebecca would disappear, leaving him broke and emotionally destroyed. The plan was set to execute in just 2 weeks, right after their Hawaiian vacation. But Marcus wasn't going to let that happen. Instead of confronting Rebecca immediately, he decided to play the long game. He began documenting everything, taking photos of the evidence, and secretly recording their conversations. He also reached out to a lawyer and a private investigator of his own to build a case against both Rebecca and David. The hardest part was pretending everything was normal. Every kiss felt like poison, every "I love you" felt like a dagger to his heart. Marcus had to watch the woman he thought he loved continue to manipulate and deceive him, all while gathering evidence to bring her down. The psychological toll was enormous, but he knew he had to see it through. During their vacation in Hawaii, Rebecca began the final phase of her operation. She presented Marcus with what she claimed was an amazing investment opportunity that a friend of hers had told her about. It was a startup that was developing revolutionary clean energy technology, and they needed investors quickly before going public. She showed him fabricated documents, fake testimonials, and even arranged for him to speak with actors posing as other investors and company executives. Marcus played along perfectly, expressing enthusiasm and asking all the right questions. Rebecca must have thought she had him completely fooled. On their last night in Hawaii, as they watched the sunset from their hotel balcony, she told him how much she loved him and how excited she was about their future together. The irony was suffocating. When they returned to San Francisco, Marcus told Rebecca he needed a few days to arrange the transfer of funds for the investment. During this time, he finalized his plans with his lawyer and private investigator. They had enough evidence to pursue both criminal and civil cases against Rebecca and David. The confrontation happened on a Friday evening when Rebecca came over for dinner, expecting to celebrate Marcus's investment in the fake company. Instead, she found Marcus sitting at his dining table with his lawyer, his private investigator, and a detective from the San Francisco Police Department. The look of shock and then rage on her face when she realized she'd been caught was something Marcus would never forget. Rebecca tried to deny everything at first, but when confronted with the evidence, including her own files and the contract with David's company, she finally broke down and confessed. The detective arrested her on charges of fraud, identity theft, and stalking. David was arrested at his office the same day. The aftermath was a whirlwind of legal proceedings, media attention, and emotional recovery. Rebecca was sentenced to 5 years in prison for her crimes, while David received 3 years and was ordered to pay significant damages to Marcus. The case became a cautionary tale about corporate espionage and the lengths some people will go to for revenge. But the real victory for Marcus wasn't the legal justice, it was reclaiming his life. He used the settlement money to start a new company focused on cybersecurity and privacy protection. He also wrote a book about his experience that became a bestseller and helped other victims of similar crimes. Today, Marcus is happily married to Emma, a teacher he met at a book signing event. Their relationship is built on complete honesty and transparency, something Marcus values more than anything else after his experience with Rebecca. He never takes trust for granted and has become an advocate for victims of long-term deception and fraud. The most important lesson Marcus learned from this nightmare is that sometimes the people who seem most trustworthy are the ones we should be most cautious about. Love should never require you to ignore red flags or surrender your independence completely. Real love builds you up, it doesn't tear you down or seek to control every aspect of your life. Marcus still has nightmares sometimes about those 3 years he spent unknowingly living with his enemy, but he's learned to view his survival as a testament to his strength rather than a mark of his naivety. His story serves as a reminder that we all have the power to fight back against those who seek to destroy us, no matter how hopeless the situation might seem.